How you doing, guys? So here I am in Lerner Central. It is 4 degrees. Got the day off work, so I just thought I'll come out and go and have a brew in Ironbridge and bring you along. I do hope everybody's okay. Put the visor down because it's actually it's actually cold on your face, that is. Found an off-road bike. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to keep you in suspense. But yeah, found an off-road bike. Like it. There's only 3 on sale in the UK. I have looked at parts, spare parts, plastics, stuff like that. So it's not a new bike. It's not a new bike. Definitely not a new bike. It's not an old bike. But yeah, gonna make the phone call. Well, I've made the phone call. They're ringing me back this afternoon with some figures, just to see if I can afford it. If I can, then I'll look at asking how much delivery is. I believe it's up in Grimsby, the bike is. So yeah, all good at the moment, all good. Let's have a talk about Satnavs. Is the old school Satnav dead in the water? Do people still use the Satnavs? Most of the people I know all use the phones now, or an old phone as a GPX, or as a GPS, I should say. So is that realm over and done with now? You know, even the off-roading lads, when I went out a couple of weeks ago, when I was falling off a lot, even he used his phone. Had his phone mounted to his bars, and that was it. He was just using his phone. So you kind of think, is that era done? Get over, mate. Is that era done? Are the Satnavs? Me personally, when I'm going touring, I like to have a Satnav. Me personally, not just use my phone. And the reason for that mainly is when we went to the Black Forest a couple of years ago with the lads, one of the lads used his phone as a Satnav. Now, we got split up at one point, and we pulled over and sent him a WhatsApp message with a location marker on it. So he didn't have a signal. Where he was, he didn't have a signal, so he couldn't use his phone and he couldn't use his Satnav. So you kind of, in that scenario, you need a Satnav, because it's just the route is actually on the system itself. It's already pre-planned and pre-done on the route, so you don't need an actual signal. The signal's still there. It never goes away. So if he'd have actually had a sat-nav, he could have just met us at the next location, the next brew stop or the dinner stop or whatever it was that we was going to. But as it was, we ended up going back about 35-40 minutes to the point where we lost him and sitting waiting for him, basically. And then after about an hour, he got a signal and he was about an hour and a half in front of us. So at least if he'd have had a sat-nav there, we could have just texted him and just says, we'll meet you at the next brew stop, for example. Because on my sat-nav, on my route app, what I use, you can actually plan stops, brew stops, food stops, a rest stop even. So you can just say, right, well, you crack on and we'll meet you at the brew stop at 11 o'clock, for example, on my route app. And he could have just followed it. But that's the reason why I like having a sat-nav. I do use my phone. I'm not saying I don't. I do use my phone. If I'm on tour, I mainly use it when I get into the location of where we're stopping. So if we're stopping in a hotel or something, go onto bookings.com and click on that. Click on your booking, click on maps, click on location, and off you go. It takes you straight to it, and then I use my phone. Because not always are the addresses abroad, right? When we went to Austria, we stopped at a place in France, and the address was nowhere near where he told me. But saying that, he wasn't even on the route. He wasn't even on the route that he gave me. But I'd like to have a sat-nav as like a main device, and I'll use my phone as a secondary or a backup measure, rather than relying on one solely. I mean, I saw a bloke on YouTube the other day, and I think he had a KTM. I think he had a 1290 KTM. But he actually had an iPad mounted to his bike, an iPad. I was flabbergasted. I don't know whether it was a joke or what, but yeah, having an iPad mounted to your bike so you could use. I think he used MRA as well. I must admit, you've got to find your routing app that you like using. Some people get on with my route app, some people don't. For example, Aggis Whisperer, I know they get on with it, but I've tried a few other routing apps and I just couldn't get on with them. The worst one I found was at Basecamp. Jesus Christ, that was difficult. You had to put it on the right side of the road and everything. It was absolutely madness, that was. I think that would be good if you was doing off-roading, but for a tour, that's no good. No good at all. For me, it was just far too difficult for me. I do like actually looking at the sat-nav as well. That's going to sound stupid, but I actually like to see what's around me when I'm riding on the, especially on tour and stuff like that. It might come up with a brown sign just saying, you know, route information, for example. But 9 times out of 10, there's something there. It's either a picture point or something like that. Do you know what I mean? There's the information point, or there's something there. There's something of interest there. Oh, can't get out now. This road will be closed from the 0403. Oh, 0403? Yeah, there, yeah. And the other thing, the other thing that I like using, or why I like using a sat nav is obviously if you get a phone call, your sat nav goes off, and if you're leading, you're knackered, absolutely knackered. So you know, I do think it's nice that you've got a secondary unit. I'd always use a secondary unit. Yeah, your secondary unit's going to be 90% your phone, but I'd run a sat nav personally. I actually like sitting down and making routes. I really do. just sat there at work. When I'm on nights, you can't do it in the day because it's absolutely busy as bloodery. But overnight, sat there and make a few routes. So if you use my route app, I have got loads and loads and loads of routes on my page. If you go to the Peaky Biker, and friend request me, and then I'll add you as a friend, and there's routes on there that you can use. There's even European routes. There's routes for Black Forest, there's routes for Switzerland, there's routes for Germany, there's routes for Switzerland. So yeah, so if you let me know what you run. Do you run a phone? Do you run a sat nav? Do you run both? Do you run neither? Do you run something else? I don't know. There's loads of GPS stuff out and about now. So just let me know what you run and what works for you. What's the best thing for you? So as usual, if you can all stay safe, keep your family safe, and I'll do one thing, which is smile. Thank you very much, you muckers. Until the next time, that's me, the Peaky Biker, out. And I'll see you all soon.